Hi everybody, welcome into Watch Me Wednesday episode number 12. We're getting up there. I hope that you all enjoyed the first two videos in this little paper piecing quilt along series, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far some of you got. Because remember, we're just making the one block, and then I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to put this block together today, which is going to be cool. First, I want to start off by welcoming you all back in, and also I want to thank everybody who I did a little giveaway on my Facebook page. I guess it was last week, because I celebrated 28,000 followers on my Facebook page. I can't believe it. 28,000 followers. Thank you to all of you who follow my Canton Village Quiltworks business page, myself, and what I do. I really do enjoy it. So I wanted to celebrate last week by doing that giveaway. I gave away 6 different prizes. My patterns, people who entered their comments went to my website, chose their 3 favorite patterns of mine, and yep, I shipped them out to the winners yesterday. So if you're curious as to who the 6 winners were, you can go on to the business page. I listed who they were, and they all got the patterns that they requested. So thanks again for being my followers, and hopefully I will be doing more of these special little giveaways when I reach other types of milestones as well. So welcome back in, and we're going to finish up the paper piecing tutorial, and then kind of at the end I'm going to show you what you can do with this block. It's going to be something a little extra special, because if you don't want to make the whole quilt, the spinning wheels quilt, you may want to do something different with just the block. So I'm going to show you something really cool. So I am going to show you some tips and tricks on how to get this block together so it's nice and square, nice and neat. There's no bulk. So let's get started. First, I want to tell you, since now you're not going to be doing paper piecing, you're just going to be joining your pieces together. First thing you're going to need to do is reset your stitch length on your machine. Remember, I told you that the stitch length for the paper piecing needs to be at 1.5. Now I bring that stitch length up to 2.0 because we're just piecing the units together. Oh, and before I forget, don't forget to press that share button so that others can join in on watching this paper piecing tutorial. I really want as many people who are interested in learning how to do this block or learning how to do paper piecing be able to watch it. So don't forget to hit that share button. And also, if you've started making the block, please post your pictures in the comments. I'm not sure if it'll let you post your pictures during the live broadcast, but you certainly can post them afterwards in the comment section or post them to my Facebook page. I want to make a little album on the Facebook page of all the blocks that have been made with the spinning wheels pattern. So that would be really cool. And I did post a little teaser one earlier. My friend Nedra, if you're watching, thank you for posting that. She's doing her spinning wheels block in all Halloween fabrics. It looks like a spider web. It's really cool. So you get to take a look at that later. She's joining us in today for the tips and techniques as well. So again, let me just repeat. Hit the share button and then go to your machine, and you're going to adjust it from a 1.5 stitch to a 2.0 because we're joining the blocks together. Now I'm going to pull the camera closer so that you can see what I'm going to be doing with the block, and that you can get this block together really cool way. All right, here we go. Some little tips and techniques coming your way right now. Let me angle the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. All right, I think we've got it here. All right, so now what you should have is you should have 4 pieces of your triangle 2 and 4 of your triangle 1. Now, you should have trimmed it down, so you should have trimmed it right on those edges as I had showed you last time. Now, for those of you who have not removed the papers yet, All you need to do to remove the papers is I flip it over and it's, see how easy it comes off? When you set your stitch length at a 1.5, it perforates that paper real easy. Look at that, how nice and easy it comes off. So you want to take those papers off, okay? Every single one, you don't need them on any longer. Okay, and number 1 is the one that you glued on, and if you have a little trouble getting it off, you can always take your purple thing, which I do sell these online, and I use them for a lot of things. So if you see me doing my curved piecing tutorials, I use them for that. But it has a lot of different uses, and if you take one of my classes, you'll get to see so many uses that we use with it. Okay, so now that one's all done, okay? If anybody, by the way, if you have some paper residue here and people say, oh, you know, what am I going to do to get it off? You can, it's simply washable glue. Remember, you were using a washable glue stick. The one that I have and I sell on my site is the Yoo-Hoo stick. It's washable. All you need to do is take a little bit of water, dab it on your finger, and then dab it on that spot. Take the flat end of your purple thing and just rub that paper and that residue off, and it's gone. It's really super simple and easy. So then we're going to take the paper off of this unit, okay? We're going to get it all off, and you can see how quickly it goes because you've paper pieced with that smaller stitch. It perforates it and really doesn't leave any of that paper behind. Now, if you used a thicker paper and you did not reduce your stitch length, then you might have some problems removing the paper. But if you did everything that I told you, you shouldn't have an issue. So let me get rid of this paper here and just throw this in my trash so it's out of our way. Okay. I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying this block. It's a nice, simple beginner block. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple little tricks here before you put these two triangles together. What you're going to see on the back is it's all nice and neat, right? But what I want you to see is this little bit, that triangle right there, that little flippy floppy one, right? And it kind of gets down into there where your pieces are actually going to join. And it's on both. I don't know if you can see that, okay? This is a little trick I teach in my classes. We're going to get rid of some extra fabric because we don't want any bulk in here. So you're basically going to take your scissors and just snip that dog ear straight off like that. Easy peasy. I'm going to actually snip this thread too because I am a thread snipper. So I'm going to snip that off, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to snip that dog ear off, okay? And those are gone. So see how now there's not that extra fabric in the end there? That will help reduce the bulk there. Now, for putting these together, super simple, okay? If you notice, these have these little, the cutoffs for the corners here, which will help you align your pieces. So the dog ears are basically cut off on these. When I designed the pattern, we cut the dog ears off. So we're going to put these two together, and we want to sew down this seam. First thing we want to do though is we want to align that snipped off corner and then this snipped off corner, and see how nice and precise they are. They fit together like a hand in glove. Now I want to show you a couple things. So I am going to do a little pinning, and these I talk about in my class. These are my most favorite pins ever. They're long, fine pins, and they're green and orange. These are those pins. I use these all the time. I do sell them on my website, so they are there, and I will put the link for it in the, after I post the video, I will put the link for these. But these are the pins that I like to use. And the reason I like to use long, fine pins is because the finer the pin, the less distortion it will cause when you put it into any kind of block. The thicker the pin, it causes much more distortion. So, and the longer the pin, you can actually weave it in so it keeps your block a little more stable. So there's one critical point that we have to pin here. It's where the yellow meets the yellow, because these seams are actually pressed in the same direction, and we want them to match up real well. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. But can you see where I've pinned that there? I've pinned it right on that seam, okay? It's on, right, they match up, they butt up, but they don't butt together. They lay on top of one another. They're stacked, okay? So you can go ahead and you can put a pin here if you want, and you can put a pin here. I'm gonna put a pin at this end only because I have a longer spanse that I have to go through. So I'm gonna put a pin at this end, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and sew. So I'm gonna turn this here to my sewing machine so you can see. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and sew this. Whoops. And we're gonna sew at a regular 1/4 inch. You want your 1/4 inch foot on. Let me bring this just a little closer for you guys to see. Can you see that okay? There you go. And you're just going to do a regular 1/4 inch. And I will pull the pin out before I get there because I don't want to run over my pins. Okay, so now I'm going to keep on going. Come through to the other end, and you can see how I'm actually sewing on this green side where there's no seams, because the other side has seams. It's just easier to sew on this side. So then I'm going to go ahead and trim it up. Okay, so now let me just put it back this way because I want you to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to trim these little snips off because I told you I don't like little snips. So you got your 1/4 inch seam here, and by the way, just so you know, on the purple thing, this little square at the end is a perfect 1/4 inch. So you can go ahead and you can measure your seam allowance to see if you've sewn an actual 1/4 inch. So if you're questioning whether or not your 1/4 inch seams are accurate, just use that and measure it. So now you've got your block. Now what you want to do here is you want to make sure when you're pressing it to the side where you've got the section number 5, okay? Because there's no seams here, so you want to press it this way. You do not want to press it towards this side. Does that make sense to you? Because there are seams here, and if you press it this way, you're going to have lots of bulk. So you want to go ahead and press it this way. Now I'm not going to get up and go to my my iron because it's over on the other side, and I'm hoping you can all see again. I'm going to put it, here we go. So I'm pressing it towards the green, okay? So all of my blocks I've pressed towards the green. So you can see on this side, see how it's pressed towards the green, okay? And I did the same thing here, but I did a finger press. Now we want to join the halves together, okay? Now this one I already did for you. I joined the halves together here, and you can see how it looks on the back. All the seams are pressed towards that green. So we want that to be on the same on this half. So you're going to do the pinning in the same way, but this time the yellow meets up here. So we want to pin up there, okay? We're going to do the first pin in here, because we want it to stay nice and even here, so you have a nice square block. And then guess what? Because you're pressing the seams all in the same direction, these two seams here are going to nest, which is fantastic. So you can go ahead and you can put a pin in there. Whoops, can't grab a pin. You can put a pin in here. Okay, so they stay nice and steady. And then we're going to sew from here to here. Okay, so let me readjust so you can see me sewing here. Okay, it's taken me a little while to get used to moving the camera around so that you guys can see, but I'm hoping you can see everything. I think you can, because I can kind of see where I'm at here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sewing at the 1/4 inch, and remember my stitch length is now at a 2.0. I like a little bit tighter stitch. Your machines mostly default to a 2.5, and for me I just like a little firmer stitch, so I do a 2.0 stitch. Okay, so now we're going to open this back up and I'm going to show you. Again, we want to press towards the screen. I'm going to snip these threads. Okay, this thread there. I'm going to press towards this green again. So I'm going to press out towards that green, and I'll give these a nice good press later when off camera, so I can get up and go to my iron. But I use, so if you're wondering, I use a dry iron. I never use a steam iron. The only time I use any kind of moisture, when I'm done with the block, I might spray a little Mary Ellen's Best Press on it. It makes everything lay nice and flat. Or when I'm done with the quilt, and then I might give it a steam. But I don't, steam tends to make things distort and shift, especially if you're not pressing. If you're ironing like this, it'll make it distort. So now we have some critical points where we need to pin again, because we want to get the two halves together, okay? So where we want to pin first is this middle seam, okay, is going to come together really super nice. And what I'm going to do is I want to get a straight pin. Some of them are bent. I'm going to sink it down. I'm going to sink my pin down right into where that 1/4 inch is. I don't know if you can see where those lines cross, the seams cross. It's right in there at the 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to look here on this one to see where the 1/4 inch is, which is right there. And I'm going to stick my pen. I'm doing it very deliberately, sticking my pin right in there. And as you can see, the seams still nest because they all are pressed in the right direction. So then once I have my pin in there at the 1/4 inch, I'm just going to hold my block tightly and turn that down. And this is the reason why I love these pins, the thin pins, because there is no distortion that happened right then and there, because it lies nice and flat. So now I'm going to go to this end and I'm going to pin where the yellow seams are, okay, because we want them to match nicely. And then I'm going to come to this end and do the same thing. This way you'll get a nice square block. If you take the time to do this, you will have a very nice square block. Okay, so now I've got my 3 pins in. If you wanted to put more pins in here, you could, but I like to use the needle down function on my machine. So when it's in needle down, if I need to adjust, I can do that along here. So let's come back to the sewing machine. Okay, there we go. Okay, have you all pressed that share button for everybody to take a peek at? Make sure you've pressed that share button and share it to others. All right, so here we go. We're going to get this block together. Sewing at a 1/4 inch. Taking the pins out before we get there. And as you can see, my machine is in a needle down position. Okay, so this way if I want to adjust, if my seams in between the pins aren't quite accurate, you can adjust. I'm going to come along, coming towards that middle, and I want to make sure everything is nice and smooth. And I'm going to come right on in, right before I get to that needle, or the pin I should say, and I'm going to take it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish sewing and come all the way through the end, keeping that nice 1/4 inch stitch, okay? And you'll have a fantastic spinning block. Spinning wheels block, I should say. I should know. I named it. I can't believe I called it spinning block, but it is a spinning block, sort of. Okay, so I'm going to trim these off. Let me put the camera back so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so now let's see. This is the moment of truth. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, here we go. So if you did it all nice and lined up, so now what I do, see, you can see how it's all nice and lined up there. This is what I do to the back. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take, if you can see this, I'm going to take a couple stitches out from the middle, and I actually split this, if I can get in here. I'm going to take it out of here. I can see them right this side here, just to the seam line. I'm just taking a couple stitches out. It's like 1 or 2, I think. So it opens that up so that you can split your seam, and you can press one to one side and one to the other, so you're reducing the bulk. Okay, oops, this one didn't come quite out. Hang on. You want to reduce the bulk in there, because if you're quilting this yourself, you'll know how it gets bulky in the middle. I'm not doing a very good job there. Anyway, I'll work on that later, but you're going to push one to one side, one to the other. This will lay flat, trust me. I just have to work on that a little bit. So you want to press them both the opposite direction, okay? And then you want to come in the front and you want to give it a press. You can give it a shot of Mary Ellen's at this point, and it lays flat. And you can also see how nice and square it is. So it's square at all those intersections where it needs to be, okay? So now I'm going to push the camera back a little bit so that you can see me, and I'm going to show you something that I think that you'll really enjoy to do with this block. All right, pushing you guys back just a bit. All right, so hi again. So we've got our blocks all done, okay? And I do encourage you, I would love you to post your blocks so that I can see them. And I'm going to show you what you can do, because next week we're going to have a giveaway. And my friend Joanne from the Fat Quarter Gypsy is watching. She's going to be giving away some things next week for us that you can do with this. So I'm going to show you what I made with my block, because I think that you might want to make yourself, okay? Don't forget to share, okay? So, all right. Do any of you know what this is? I have a feeling that some of you might know what this is, okay? This, first of all, you're getting a sneak peek, by the way, of my new fall fabric line from Island Boutique. So this is the only sneak peek you're going to get, so take a look. It won't be introduced until October at Fall Market, okay? So, ready? This is what you can make, you too can make with your block. It is a pop-up, okay? The Fat Quarter Gypsy does these beautiful pop-ups. They squish down. You can put your little scraps in it. You can do, you know, whatever. You can put flowers in it, your waste, whatever you want to put in it. But this is what I did with one of my spinning wheels blocks with my new fabric line. And the nice thing is they travel real well because you squish them down. And you, now I did the fabric tie to tie it down. You can put an elastic on there too, and she gives you the instructions, okay? So next week, what I'm going to show you, I'm going to have this turned into the pop-up, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that because you got to, you take her instructions and you have to modify it because you're inserting the block. So, but this is what it'll look like. So it's, I mean, you could probably do a couple if you wanted. You could do one block on the front, one block on the back if you really wanted to. Okay, so that's a pop-up if you're not familiar. And they come in all kinds of cool sizes. So Joanne will, if you really don't know what a pop-up is, you've got to go over to her Facebook page and her website. She's the Fat Quarter Gypsy. So I'm going to show you what she's giving away. I'm going to push the camera back just a little bit more just so you can see. Okay, so this is the pattern. She's going to give away 2 of these patterns. It's called stocking pop-ups. And there are several different sizes. So there's a small, a medium, a large, and an extra large, okay? So the one that I showed you here, this is the medium, okay? That's the medium one, okay? This is the mini one. It's a little itty bitty mini one. This is the small. And this one, I believe, is the one you can make with just a fat quarter or a couple fat quarters. I haven't made that one yet because this is the one I made. I made the medium one, and I'm going to make another one with this block. So when you come back next week, you're going to see how to make the medium one with this block, okay? And then you got a large one. So you can use the large one, would be a cool like waste can in your sewing studio. You wouldn't want to throw any like wet food or anything in that. You just dry items, you know, paper or fabric or things like that. So what Joanne is going to give away next week, and we're going to tell you about the giveaway next week, so, and how to enter. So make sure you come back. She's going to give away 2 prizes, 2 of these and 2 of these patterns, okay, so that you know how to make it. But if you can't wait and you absolutely want to get a full set for yourself now of all of them, you can go over to her site on Facebook, like her page, and then you can go to her website and buy them. But so for those of you who have ever made the pop-ups just with the fabric, now you're going to find out how to make it by kind of improvising and putting a cool block into it, so personalizing it per se. So definitely you want to thank Joanne for doing the giveaway for us next week. So I hope that you all enjoyed the little tips that I had for you for the spinning wheels block. If you just joining me now and you didn't see the first 2 videos, they are on my Facebook page. They do live there, and they are on my YouTube channel. So you can go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and you can watch all the videos in the past that I've done. But lots of cool little tips and techniques that I like to share with you all. And please, 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 I want you to do a couple things. First, I want you to post your blocks, please. I want to see them. I want to make a little album. So please, please, please post your blocks. I want to see all the different colorways. Nedra did Halloween one. My friend Lisa, she's made this several times, and I know Lisa's watching. She's made a few blocks too. I can't remember. I think it might have been Teresa who made a block, and she posted it last week. Please repost it. Repost your blocks if you posted them already. So that's a couple things. Plus, hit the share button. Share the video. Share the love, because we're going to have another tutorial next week coming up for the medium-sized pop-up and the giveaway. Let's share the love. And I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I can't wait to see you next week. And I apologize, it was 1 week off. I took a little vacation and I had a great time, but I'm glad you all came back to watch today. So take care. Can't wait to see those blocks, and hit that share button. See you all next week. Bye-bye.